It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. If this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome to each and every one of you. The Divas That Care is now in its 12th season. We are listened to over 30 countries around the world, and it's because of all our amazing listeners, our tribe, that we're able to do that. We're so excited because we are able to have so many dynamic, interesting, inspiring, empowering individuals on our program, and it just gets us excited to keep on doing this. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing it, and thank you for being our guest on our program, because we love our listeners coming onto our program and being our guests also. All right, today I'm going to be welcoming a brand new diva to our family. Her name is Rose Simard. I hope I said that right, and I'm really excited about her because she's going to be talking. Did I? Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you on the program, Rose, because you're going to be talking about something that we don't usually talk about on our Divas That Care. So I'm actually really excited about that. So, Rose, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's actually really exciting to be here. I've been following you for quite some time, and I was just so honored when you reached out, because it's been something on my list of wanting to do.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited also. That makes me really happy. I'm really excited about that. Oh, Rose, well, before I kind of dive into some questions that I have for you, would you mind, kind of introducing yourself to our listeners today? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, the things that you like to do.
So I am based in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. I am a mother of three, outdoor enthusiast. I actually like obstacle course racing. I don't know if many of you have heard about the Spartans or Mud Heroes and all that stuff, but
I love that.
To me, it's a challenge. It's something that's like mind, body, and spirit, and it's a community that has unlocked in something in me that has transferred over to all areas of my life, and that's why I love doing what I'm doing. I work in the divorce industry, but a little side note, I am not divorced. I'm actually celebrating my 27th wedding anniversary this year. And so a lot of people get into the divorce industry because of their experience and wanting to make a change. That wasn't my story, but it doesn't mean I am not trying to make a difference and trying to help people transition a really difficult time in their life.
I love that. That is so awesome. You're trying to help others, inspire them to, honestly, to do what you've been able to do, which is very rare nowadays. I'll be honest with you. I hear more about divorces than ever before. And I don't know if this is going to be a true trend when we talk today, but I think the last couple of years has really taken a toll on a lot of individuals.
It certainly has. It will have made or broken the relationship. Right? So then it has given an opportunity for people to reconnect and really reevaluate what's important to them, or really realize, there needs to be a change. This is the writing's on the wall. So I'm certain, we've only seen the small, just a very tip of the iceberg from what's happening with the pandemic and COVID, because it's really hard to make a change when you're worried about finances. And that is the underlying theme as to what's happened with people through the pandemic.
Yes, I can see that completely. So your organization, so let me say this right, it is CAIM. And I love it. I want to ask you first, because of the unique name, why did you decide to call it that?
I was looking for a name that was representative, and it actually means sanctuary in Gaelic. And it's actually a pagan ritual that one actually draws an invisible circle by hand around themselves so they feel safe, protected, and loved in their most time of need. And so that's what I endeavor to do for my clients when I work with people.
I think you were meant to be on the Divas That Care. I'll honestly say that. I love it.
One thing when you start a business, it's interesting because you need to be direct and people need to know what you're about and what you're doing, et cetera. So it took some time, and I had to really stand confident in that I was like picking in a word that most people mispronounce, don't really understand. But to me, when people hear the meaning of it, it's the connection. And I've had so many people say they get, the hairs on their arms stand up, like that's about. And that to me was more important than just having, just saying, hey, I'm a divorce solution company, or I'm a divorce this, or I do this. So that was, really important to me because it was about the vision of what I was trying to create.
I love it. It's very, very inspiring. So not too many people go in to become a divorce mediator. I'd love to hear why you decided to do that. And then I want to dive into exactly what your company does because, as you said, this is something that I think is going to be a conversation now moving forward with a lot of, I'm putting it out there, hopefully not a lot of individuals. But, it's good to know what is available out there.
I think it's, I don't know how spiritual you are, Candace, and I'm sure we all have a thread of it. I wouldn't say I'm on the very really out there, but I do believe things happen for a reason. And I found the divorce mediation found me. I didn't actually find it. And it was very interesting because I had a colleague, a friend, and she reads Akashic records, and she was actually saying, she asked me how I got into the work because she had a download regarding me, and she didn't know I actually hadn't been divorced, but there was something underlying in the download that she had for me. And I said, no, I'm actually not divorced. She goes, but you were divorced in a previous life, and it was a bad one, and you're now here to make things different and to be that change maker. So that was very interesting. That was that was only just in the last year that I heard that message. And so, I was looking for a new opportunity. I've been in the finance industry. I've been a financial advisor. I had a successful mortgage brokerage company for 16 years. I was looking for another opportunity to connect with people, do something more meaningful in terms of my work. And I had thought about doing my MBA, getting my accounting designation, getting my certified financial analyst, my CFA. So you can get it. I'm a numbers person. I'm a numbers geek with heart, is what I like to tell people. So I was just looking for opportunities, and I was actually thinking of going back into financial planning, and I was in a friend's office. She's a family law lawyer, and I was doing a mortgage for her, and I was just telling her I was looking for something, and she told me actually about the certified divorce financial analyst. And I'm like, oh, what is that? And she's like, well, you help people work out the money situation when they're going through separation and divorce. And, that's a really complex thing, something that's really overwhelming for most people. And what she said to me really stuck was that I had a way of explaining complex things and making people feel confident and calm in the face of really making difficult decisions. And she had told me that if I was actually going to go back into financial advising, she would be she was going to transfer everything to me. And I was like, well, that was a nice confidence vote. And so I took that in, and then all of a sudden, a year later, I looked into it, I didn't act on it. A year later, I lost my phone, and I sent out it through Facebook and said, hey, I lost my phone, I lost all my contact information. Please, send me a message, with your contact info. And I actually had somebody else who knew I was looking for an opportunity. He reached out and said, hey, I actually know of something that I think would be right up your alley. And he told me about divorce mediation. And I actually, because I haven't been divorced, Candace, I didn't even know about divorce mediation. I didn't know that it existed. I didn't know what was involved with it. And I'm like, well, that's really interesting. And then I found out that you could marry this certified divorce financial analyst and the mediation. And to me, that was, no pun intended, like a good combination. It was a good partnership of the two things I wanted to do, not just about the money, handling it. I've already done that part. What I wanted to do is how could I help them through the whole process And that's how it got started. And the very first course I took, remediation, I was hooked. And I really believe the skills that a mediator brings to a conversation, to the life, everything, they're actually life skills. It's all about communication and conflict management and being able to handle those difficult discussions. And so I've been an advocate going, like, everybody should actually, if they're ever looking for something to do, take a couple of intro to mediation courses. They will be life-changing. They will help you in every aspect of your life. So when I work with my clients, I actually almost teach them the skills so that I don't just mediate them, but they actually learn how to manage these ongoing conflicts after, because it's not an if,
so important.
It's a when. Right? Mm-hmm. They have the ability. So I always endeavor that the clients literally don't have to work with me again, but they actually walk away with a new skill set to some varying degree, depending on how they developed it. But I'm not just dealing with their divorce, but I'm actually showing them how to actually work through problems on an ongoing basis.
That's perfect. And, going back to what you were mentioning before, I really do believe in serendipity. I believe that things happen for a reason and things come into our life for a reason. And I think that you were showing this path for, obviously to help so many others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm shifting too a little bit. I've expanded my services because I've realized that there's a lot of people that I can't necessarily help. They won't necessarily come to mediation. They may not actually have finances to deal with. They may have actually left their relationship or their marriage, for reasons of I'll put the word out there, domestic abuse. There's a lot of people who will leave and they will walk away because they need to. So I'm also now, since last summer, working on a program called Dare to Dream, and to help especially women coming out of domestic violence situations or toxic relationships who want to become financially independent of their exes. And what my motivation has been, this woman at the beginning, and she told me her story at a networking luncheon, and she had said, oh, you wouldn't have been able to help me because, her husband was not ever willing to come to the table. 8 years in, she was still going to court. She was still trying to fight. She was still trying to get support from him. And she had been a stay-at-home mom. She had the tough time finding a job. So what did she do? She started a business, right? Because she didn't get a job. But she struggled establishing herself in the business and making it successful. And she struggled. And I just thought, I walked away from that, and that conversation. I thought there's got to be a way to help women like her, support them to build a thriving business, give her support so she can disengage from a spouse that is evidently just wants control, who's never going to pay. And I just thought, what if she had those resources? What would her life be like today when I met her versus having battled for 8 years and still living in the same hell as she probably did in her relationship?
Yep. And it's so common. People don't realize how common it is that does happen.
It does. It does. And that is another thing with the pandemic, is that you realize, and with a lot of people in close quarters, it has brought domestic violence to the forefront, right? The relationship was already strained before. Guaranteed it was going to be even more strained because of the pandemic.
That is so scary. And that's why, we really want to get the awareness out there. I've spent the last couple of years really doing that and having amazing women like yourself on a program, just even mentioning that, because we don't realize how much is out there. I think a lot of it is, they think, well, it's kind of a taboo subject. We don't want to mention the number of women that are now in shelters, the number of women that are, leaving situations, but it has to be talked about. And I love what you're doing, because if we can empower women, we can give them the skills, then they can return, help themselves, and help the people around them.
Yeah, it's actually about building a legacy. And one of why, people ask me, it's like, has this happened to you? No, it hasn't happened to me. But, my story, the people I'm trying to help is my mom's story. It's the story I saw growing up. And I swore at 15 years old, Candace, I would never let my financial circumstances keep me in an unhappy relationship. And what I saw happen to my mom, not once, but twice, I was like, that will never happen to me. And I think that is the testimony to me being successful in my marriage, having confidence to always be able to stand my ground. And that's what I want to give to other people, especially women, is that help them rebuild their confidence, their self-esteem, and their ability to make decisions and take action that is independent, and they know they're going to be okay. And it's as much for themselves, but it's for their kids. It's for the people that they're modeling, because one of the things about domestic violence and abuse is that you need to break the cycle. And oftentimes you can't be broken until there's some financial means, right? That's what keeps people tied.
Yes. And you know what I really like, too, is that I know that you're a part of Gems for Gems. And the Divas That Care has been a big supporter of Gems for Gems, and we've had them on our program a few times here. And so tell me, what is it about them that really you want to support them?
Oh, that conversation, that story that I told you about, that woman that I had met a few years ago, that was long before I actually met Jordan from Gems to Gems. And as soon as I met Jordan and found out about Gems for Gems, I'm like, okay, they got that covered. The vision that she's doing was the vision I had, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to duplicate that. That's great, because Gems for Gems is about providing financial recovery to survivors of domestic abuse. So I'm like, great, she's got that. And then I had multiple conversations with Jordan saying, like, how can I support? How can I come in and help? Could I come in on the mediation side? Could I help people through their, dealing with their finances? And it was a really tricky, very delicate subject. And subject's not the right word, but the way to approach it. And the hoops I have to actually go through to be presented to these women through the shelters, et cetera. I had to show that I've had, high conflict training, and how aware am I of domestic abuse, et cetera. And because they want to make sure that you're not re-traumatizing these women, you're really helping them, and you're not taking advantage of them. And that is the real key. And I really respected that. But I was like, okay, well, if anyone knows me, I'm a firm believer, and many people believe this as well. The divorce system, the family law system in Canada and the United States is broken. It is a very disempowering process that leaves people dependent on others. It doesn't give back the confidence. And the one thing is that we have no-fault law in Canada and in many states in the United States. And no-fault law means that bad behavior has no acknowledgement in the process. And so these people who have been abused or been taken advantage of and manipulated through the relationships, they don't get anything different than somebody who decided, had a good relationship. And I'm like, how is that really fair? Right? And so people are like, well, you got to fight for your rights, and you have to stand up and everything. But man, how hard is that for someone who's actually been abused, whose confidence is really low? They don't know how they're going to make it on their own. And I'm like, I believe the actual family law system actually re-victimizes people, right? So when I met and kept thinking about how can I help, how can I work with Gems for Gems, and last May we had another conversation, and Jordan and I talk quite frequently every few months, because I keep reaching out going, how can I be a part of it? How can I help? How can I take my expertise? And then I had this aha moment last summer, and that's where the Dare to Dream program was born. It was like, instead of, giving out money and creating that scholarship or foundation or sponsoring, and those are all really great opportunities, I'm like, what if I actually shared the same skills that I had to build my business with the women of Gems for Gems? Women like that, people who want to establish. So, the old saying is don't give a man a fish to eat for the day, teach them actually how to fish. And that's what the philosophy is about the Dare to Dream, right? Is to empower them and for them to learn how to make money of their own and control and learn how to manage their money. So it's not just about earning money. It's, again, about building the confidence, knowing how to manage it, learning how to save, how to budget, how to build a really successful, thriving business, and prepare for the future. Have that safety net and be on the safety net.
You are amazing. I love this. I want to help you in any way that I can get this going.
Thank you. So I have 2 programs. My second program has just started. I have 18 people in the program. I don't know, the next intake will probably be summer or fall, but I do have room in the 2 current programs if anyone is interested in finding out. I have structured it, and I don't know if I don't want this to come across as a sales pitch, but I have structured this as a partnership, it's a mentorship, and it's a mastermind, because I realize there's a lot of people that don't have money to invest, and that's where the partnership comes in. There is no large upfront fee to get into this program. You pay me as you get going and as you're actually earning money. So it's like I'm investing upfront and making sure that everyone is successful in the program, because the more successful they are, the more successful I'm going to be. And a part of the proceeds of the program actually go back to Gems to Gems.
Oh, my goodness, this is great. So, Rose, is this open for anybody in Canada, anybody in North America, or is this kind of a global thing that you're wanting to do?
I want it to be global. The barriers, like the internet, there is no boundaries anymore. So this is all about online. You do not have to be in a specific location whatsoever to be a part of this. Everybody has the same need. And they can do it. And they all have different markets. They all have different experiences that they can bring to the people that they want to serve. So what I'm teaching these people in the program, I do have a couple of men, but the majority of them are women. Is how to share their gifts, their experiences. How can they help somebody in their circle, their community, and really help them either achieve some success that they've had, or help them prevent a problem, help them avoid that pain, that same experience that they wish they had known. Because, all of us, whether we have formal training or not, our experiences are actually our biggest asset. And that's what the whole knowledge industry is about, is sharing our experiences and our wisdom and our knowledge of what we went through and what we learned from it to help somebody else get there faster or avoid mistakes.
Exactly. So does your program, do they meet once a week? How does this all work?
So we meet 3 times a month. There's 3 masterminds per month, 3 mentorship calls, which are kind of like office hours or like workshops or the opportunity to, I'm working on this, I need help. And then they actually do a one-to-one strategy call with me each month as well. So we want to make sure that they're progressing, they get direct help. So it is a 1-year commitment, but it doesn't end after 1 year. I just say that it takes time to really make the change and set things up. But if they put in the time, the effort, I will make sure they're successful. And they're making my goal for everybody, my goal for everybody in the program, because it's all about systems and processes and just starting and taking action, is that they're working. They have 3 streams of income by the end of the year established. And so they're making anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month. It's so possible. And some people will surpass that. They will take off even more. So if they treat this if anyone is listening and they're thinking, I can't find a job or can't find a well-paying job, I'm thinking about starting a business, whether it's with me or anybody else, if you commit to starting your business and you treat it like a job, you will get full-time results. Inevitable. Commit. So that is the big thing. Take action and commit and go all in. Otherwise, that's where I think where most people struggle.
Well, and I like that you said it's a year commitment, because there's a lot of programs and things out there that it's a few months. And, change doesn't happen that quickly. It takes time to establish those, habits. And I really respect and love when we can put longer programs together so that you do have that consistency in there. Oh my gosh, Rose, I have had a blast. I know that our time is now, up here. Is there any last-minute tips, tools you can give our listeners? And also to let all of our listeners know, I will be posting all of Rose's social media links so that you guys can check her out that way too.
Yeah, the tips, find somebody that inspires you. Find somebody who has done what you would like to do and model them. If nothing else, learn from them, do what they do, and you will see success in your own shape and form. But look towards the right people. Find a mentor, again, find somebody who inspires you and learn everything that you can about them. And you know what? Mentorship is something people won't often do because they are asked for and not often doing that. But you know what? I think it's a huge compliment. If you really admire somebody and you like what they're doing, reach out to them, tell them that, and ask them if you can actually learn from them. I bet you more people would say yes than no.
I think so too. Rose, thank you so much. I would love, please come back onto the program again. I know that it went by really quickly, and I did have quite a few other things I wanted to ask you. So I would love to have you back on our program again in the future.
I would love that. And can I just put in a quick plug? I am going to be doing a challenge, a Facebook challenge. It's later in May. And it's going to be called Divorced and Free, How to Break the Ties That Bind. It's going to be free, and it's a good opportunity for people to see what this is about and sort of, get a launch plan for how they can establish themselves financially.
Oh, I love that. And what we'll do, too, is that we'll post that in the Changemakers Cafe, our Facebook group there, so all of our guests, our hosts, and everybody else can check that out, too, because I think it would be a great program.
Fantastic.
Thank you again so much, Rose, for coming on the program. I did really enjoy this. I love what you're doing. And the Divas That Care would love to support you in any way that we can by getting your information out there. It was wonderful. And as I said, please come back on again.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our time, and thank you. The work that you're doing is amazing as well. And I think anybody should be tuning in regularly and just supporting each other. And thank you. And my heart is full.
Oh, thank you so much. It is my pleasure. Isn't it fun? That's why we do the Divas That Care, everyone. We love connecting, learning from inspirational women like Rose. Isn't this the greatest thing? So that, you can connect with people like her. If you know anybody that could really use Rose, please connect with her. As I said, I'm going to be posting her information so that you guys can do that connection. The Divas That Care is all about collaboration, and we want to be able to connect. That's what it's about, is that if we can share stories, we can have you guys connect with one another so that we can inspire more. It's all about that ripple effect. Again, I had such a great time. Please, everybody, make sure that you do something kind for somebody out there today. We really need that in this world, and it all starts with one person. All right, everyone, I hope that you have a fantastic day, and until next time.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.